For the use case diagram, I'll be going through the key use cases. The first one is a sign-up use case. This use case allows for users such as a consultant, consultant line manager, and the finance team to create their accounts, and is when the user will enter all of their key credentials, for example, the email, password, phone number, etc. This use case will only need to be completed once by each individual user, and after this, they will only need to log on to the application to access it. Upon signing up, the user will receive a confirmation email to verify their account. The next key use case is login. After creating their account, the user will then be able to log into the system using the email address and password they provided using the sign-up procedure. This is for authentication purposes. After logging in, the general user will then be able to view their timesheets or create a query. Specific users, for example the consultant, consultant line manager, or finance team, will have access to further use cases based upon their role in the system. The next key use cases are accept and decline job. Consultants are able to log in and check the job that they could be doing and then choose to accept the job or decline the job based on the hours, pay, etc. The next key use case is view timesheets. To view a timesheet, the user must first log on to the system and then navigate to the view timesheets section, where they'll have access to all of the timesheets they completed in the past as a way of keeping a meaningful records for both the employee and the employer. While the consultant can only view their own timesheets, the consultant line manager is also able to view the consultant's timesheets. This is for verification of the timesheets to make sure they only contain accurate information. The next key use case is submit timesheet. Once the consultant has completed their job, they're then able to access the application to submit their timesheet. To submit their timesheet, they must already be logged onto the system and be viewing the timesheet. The timesheet filled out with information can be submitted to be reviewed by the consultant line manager. The final use cases are accept and decline timesheet. At the end of the week, the consultant line manager can then review all the timesheets sent by the consultants throughout the week. The entries from the submitted timesheets is then compared to the records of the jobs the consultant has completed, and if the information is accurate, it is accepted and sent to be processed. If the information is not accurate, then the timesheet is declined and the consultant will have to fill in the timesheet again with accurate information. The actors for our use case diagram have been slightly altered from the actors we had used in our domain analysis. The client actor is no longer present as it has been replaced by the user actor. We have also made the consultant a subclass of the user. We previously only had the consultant line manager and the finance team as the subclasses. We decided on this design as the previous client actor would have been too similar to the consultant actor, which caused confusion. So this new design allows for a general user and a consultant to be a subclass of the user, with its own use cases to make the consultant more distinct. For the use case description, the key use case that we chose is submit weekly timesheet. This use case is when a consultant logs into the system after they have completed a job to view the current timesheet before submitting their timesheet to be reviewed. The actors involved in this use case are the consultant to submit the timesheet and the consultant line manager as they receive the timesheet to be reviewed. The preconditions required for this use case is that the consultant should have already signed up to the system and have already completed at least one job and entered it into the current timesheet. The basic flow of submitting a timesheet begins with the consultant entering their login credentials and logging into the system. This is followed by them navigating to the View Timesheets tab and checking for any errors in the information in the current timesheet. They then click the Submit Timesheet button, which causes the system to save that timesheet to the application's database and sends a copy to the consultant line manager to be reviewed. The system then displays all the timesheets that the user has submitted, including the timesheet that was just submitted. There are two alternate flows that may occur with this use case. The first is that the system fails to verify the consultant's login credentials. In this case, the system will display an error message to the consultant that has failed to log them into the system and prompts them to try again. The system then starts again at step 1, or the user may need to change their password. The second alternate flow would be if the consultant views a timesheet and finds an error. The consultant then creates a query describing the error along with the time and date, which the system sends the admin to be reviewed. The system then displays a confirmation message to the consultant, letting them know that the query was just created and sent to the admin. The post conditions of the consultant submitting their weekly timesheet would be that a timesheet from the consultant has been sent to the consultant line manager to be reviewed, and a new timesheet has been saved to the system for that consultant.
When it comes to the functional requirements of our timesheet application, since we have an account system, it's important that every user should be able to sign up, log in, and access this platform via their modern smartphone or their computer web browser. Now, when it comes to signing up, every consultant will be able to create their account through the mySheets website, but for security reasons, if a client member or a finance team member wants to create their account, an admin will need to send an email link to them, and this is obviously because we know that when it comes to FDM, the client or the finance team are higher up people, and we don't want anyone to be able to just go onto the website and create their account, calling it a client or a finance team account. When it comes to creating their account, everyone will need to include their email, their password, and a telephone number. In terms of logging in, every user will need to log into their account with their email as their username and their password. And should the user forget their password, they can click on a link in the mySheets website, and the link will send an email to them where they can access the email, click on the link in the email, and they'll be able to change their password. And the reason why we're using the email as the user's username is because we know that FDM have 3,500 people globally coming in and out, so it's important that every person has their username that is unique. We know that our database is going to constantly be changing in terms of the timesheet, in terms of the accounts, in terms of people creating their accounts. There's always going to be an update to the timesheet and the database behind it, so we want to make sure that there's some kind of unique identifier when it comes to logging in for every single person. In terms of the timesheets itself, it's important that we cover all the functions that our website can do. So in terms of the client, for the consultant line managers, they should be able to create and edit jobs. They should be able to accept and reject the jobs made by the consultants. They should be able to accept and reject the timesheets sent by the consultants at the end of the week. In terms of the consultants, they should be able to accept and reject the jobs that are made by the client, i.e. the consultant line managers. They should be able to create their own jobs to then be accepted by the consultant line managers, and they should be able to submit timesheets at the end of every week. In terms of the finance team, they should be able to process and archive the timesheets. In terms of the admin, they should be able to create, edit, and delete the jobs. And in terms of viewing the timesheets, anyone should be able to view the timesheets and create queries besides the admin, because of course admins will be the one that will be solving the queries. In terms of notifications and queries, if the consultant line manager edits or deletes a job, then mySheets will need to send an email to the consultant to let them know that there's been a change to the job that they've accepted beforehand. For another notification system, as a reminder, the email notifications will be sent daily to the consultants to remind them to log their hours in, and email notifications will be sent to the consultants on a weekly basis to remind them to submit their timesheets in at the end of the week. And for the query function, any user should be able to make a query to the admin. Admins should be able to open, view, reply, and close the queries, and any update to the query has to be sent to the consultant via email so that they're up to date with everything that's going on with the query.
Non-functional requirements. Firstly, we want mySheets platform to have 4 different interfaces for the admins, finance team, consultant line manager, and the consultant. By this, we want to ensure that each user has access to the designated features on the platform, which means users will not have repeating features and they will be unique to each user dependent on the tasks. For example, for Consultant Line Manager, we want the interface to allow submitting jobs, viewing timesheets, and improving them. On the other hand, consultants do not need the same features as Consultant Line Managers, thus a different interface will be made surrounding the needs of submitting timesheets. Secondly, we want mySheets to use a cloud database. This cloud database is intended to store and even potentially archive timesheets and user data such as login details, personal details, and hours worked in total. In other words, any information that may be needed can be stored on the cloud database. Potential database cloud service which can be used is Firebase. Furthermore, by using a cloud database, we are making mySheets platform available for any user to access around the world, which is highly beneficial for consultants employed by FDM as they are in numerous countries around the world. Thirdly, to develop our platform, we want to use React, which is a JavaScript library. The reason we want to develop our platform in a JavaScript library, preferably in React, is JavaScript libraries allow us developers to reuse various components throughout our platform, such as the navigation. Allows maintainability, so we are able to update one section of the platform and not compromise other layers or sections of our mySheets platform. And also, JavaScript libraries offer a vibrant ecosystem of development tools.
The risks we'll be talking about in this section are skill level of the group, communication, design of the product, and technical risk, as well as health and safety. Firstly, skill level of the group. In a first risk is delays and cost overrun due to learning curve. Likelihood is medium, but the severity is pretty high. Impact is learning new skills can slow down productivity, leading to low quality product. To prevent this, we came up with ideas such as use technology that members are familiar with, such as HTML and CSS. Second risk is insufficient testing due to lack of skill. Likelihood is high, severity is also high. Impact could be lack of skill in testing can lead the product to have a lot of bugs and errors. To prevent this, we came up with ideas such as ensure all the group members that are doing the testing have daily training. This will make sure 100% path coverage and all outcomes are covered. Secondly, communication. The major risk in communication is misunderstanding of requirements in a project. Likelihood is high, severity is also high. The impact could be a gap develops between expectation, requirements, and work packages. To prevent this, we should do full analysis of requirements, extensive research, and communication with the client. Second risk is lack of communication between team members. Likelihood is high, severity is also high. Impact would lead the product to be low quality and sometimes unfinished. To prevent this, do frequent meeting to express ideas, communicate, and keep track of the progress. Thirdly, design of product. First risk here is design not possible due to cost and not meeting requirements. Likelihood is medium, severity is high. Impact would be unfinished or low quality product. To prevent this, do detailed requirement analysis so no missing requirements and appropriate cost-effective technology is chosen. Second risk here would be architecture of a web lacking flexibility. Likelihood is medium, severity is also medium. Impact would mean that the website wouldn't support change based on request from the client, for example, and this could lead to rework. To prevent this, keep the architecture simple. Less complex architecture means easier to adapt to changes. Moreover, technical risks. The first risk here is internal hardware failure, for example storage. Likelihood is low, but the severity is pretty high. The impact could be loss of files and data, which can lead the product to be delayed. The impact to prevent this, have a backup on cloud every time the project is updated. Second risk here is internet connection failure. Likelihood is medium, as well as the severity is medium as well. Impact would be unfinished product. To prevent this, just use internet data to communicate, because it is kind of unavoidable. Finally, health and safety. First risk here would be overusing hands, arms, neck and back. Likelihood is low, but the severity is high, because the impact would lead to RSI, a repetitive strain injury, and this can lead the members working ineffectively and leading to unfinished product. To prevent this, take regular breaks, stretch, and have a good posture. Second risk here is staring at computer screen for too long. Likelihood is medium, severity is also medium, but the impact would be eye strain leading to headaches and blurry vision, ultimately producing low quality product. To mitigate this, have regular breaks away from the screen.